The humanitarian crisis in Haiti is worsening as escalating gang violence rips the Caribbean nation apart. On Friday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the plan to create a transitional presidential council on the island is moving forward after the prime minister was forced to resign. The transitional governing body aims to restore stability in a country where political turmoil is driving a rise in hunger. Christian Benavides is in the Dominican Republic at the border crossing between the DR and Haiti, where many Haitians come for basic necessities.
Chaos and unease in Haiti's capital. This week, the main prison there was set on fire. Violence that has plagued the nation for years escalated since a brazen prison break there 2 weeks ago, forcing thousands to flee their homes. I don't know what to do anymore, this man says. I was shot at. Tear gas is being used against us. It's a crime against humanity. At the border with the Dominican Republic, the gates have opened, with tens of thousands of Haitians pouring in. But there's a catch. They can only travel 100 yards into the country, and they all need to be back in Haiti before sundown. It's a small window, a couple of days a week for Haitians to shop for goods at this open-air market. Most carry back what they can, on foot, pushing carts, even on their head. When the market reopened today, men were put on one side, women and children on another side. Dominican officials tell us this has been happening ever since the prison break. The market is the lifeblood on both sides of the border, now choked ever since the crisis in Haiti escalated.
Sí, mucha diferencia. El negocio ha caído un 75%.
About 75% less customers.
Yes.
Tomas Liberato, who runs this live chicken coop, says he is at risk of bankruptcy. So you used to sell about 5,000 chickens. You're down to 250 to 500 chickens. Due to the crisis in Haiti, some customers have stopped coming. Gangs block the roads to the border. They steal chickens from his customers. And then there's the days Dominican officials shut it down. On Friday, this was the scene as Haitians rushed the border and it had to be temporarily closed. Sometimes it doesn't reopen. Border tensions remain high. Friday night, just about 100 yards behind me on the Haitian side of the border, gunfire rang out. And then earlier in the week, 2 Haitian nationals attempting to cross the border were shot by a Dominican soldier. One was killed. For CBS Saturday Morning, Christian Benavides, Dajabon, Dominican Republic.
This is cancer in space.
We said, well, what happens if you send full-blown cancer into space? Will cancer go crazy? Which it did.
The cancer hitched a ride on a mission to the International Space Station. And it was sent there by scientists because cells and cancer react very differently when they get to space.
If we send these mini tumors into space, they triple in size in just 10 days, and it would take 10 years to see that on the ground. So cancer becomes unhinged in space.
It's believed that the weaker gravity acting on cells up in space, known as microgravity, is the main culprit.
Cancer is really trying to form its own organ or tissue, and it is invading and metastasizing, spreading to other areas. In other words, unrestrained by normal tissue boundaries. And that's what we see in microgravity.
But while cancer develops in warp speed in space, it also means scientists can experiment with possible treatments equally rapidly. And they've honed their focus on a specific gene called ADAR1.
ADAR1 has been on our radar for about a decade as a cause of cancer's capacity to be able to come back by cloning itself and evading our immune system.
This gene gets switched on when cells are under stress and has been linked to about 20 different types of cancer, especially when cancers become resistant to therapy.
So we were testing if it gets turned on, can we turn off that cancer cloning gene with a drug? If we genetically knock down ADAR, does that block these little mini tumors from cloning themselves? Which it did, and we think we found a cancer kill switch. So if we can block ADAR, we can prevent cancer from cloning itself.
The scientists believe they may well have found a way to target this ADAR1 gene through a drug called rebexinib.
We were able to shut down that ADAR gene and prevent its capacity to get these little mini tumors to clone themselves, or in other words, grow in the bioreactor. So that's what we saw on this mission.
But it's not just the cancer cells being studied, it's also the astronauts themselves.
So this is a uniquely talented but also committed group of scientists that are willing to not just help you do the experiment. They're actually part of the experiment. They're giving their blood so we can get their stem cells to see how they responded to that spaceflight.
But before we get too carried away, this drug is still far from being available for treatment on humans here on Earth.
We're trying to get into clinical trials before the end of this year because there are patients that I'll see today in clinic that already need this. We need that kill switch for cancer. We need to stop it in its tracks before it blasts off. And so rather than being frustrated on the ground, we're getting really exciting new solutions that we're discovering from space.
The latest round of violent weather across the country. Powerful storms breaking out overnight in the Gulf Coast a day after a deadly string of 15 tornadoes in the heartland. ABC's Alex Brochet is in Lakeview, Ohio with more. And Alex, that area has just been hammered by these storms.
Hey, Whit, you walk this neighborhood, you can see just how powerful this storm really was. I mean, it ripped the front of this house completely off. The owner says that his kids usually sleep upstairs. Thankfully, they weren't home at the time. But this morning, as they are cleaning up, so many here feel lucky, feel fortunate because they know things could have been much, much worse.
Oh no. This morning, communities digging out from damage dealt by at least 15 tornadoes across 7 states, stretching from Texas to Indiana. A deadly outbreak blamed for killing at least 3 people and leaving entire neighborhoods in ruin. The hardest hit, Ohio. This is the aftermath in Logan County from an EF3 tornado with winds of at least 136 miles per hour. 3 dying in the storm, at least 20 sent to the hospital. You look at what's left on the ground from this home, and it's a pile of splinters. And around the corner, I mean, this is just utter destruction.
The scene of the crime, I guess.
In Lakeview, Ohio, Blaine Schmidt showed us how he survived the storm by crawling into his bathtub and praying. Today, the front of his home completely gone. He's thankful his wife and 2 kids weren't home at the time.
It's just unreal. It's unreal.
But you still have your family.
Yeah, my family's, everything important to me still here.
A tornado also touching down in Crawford County, uprooting trees and flattening homes, with residents forced to clean up what's left.
It was just really, really loud. I mean, you hear people say you hear a train or loud. Believe me, it was just, you couldn't hear hardly yourself talk.
That's a big one.
Other states feeling the blow of the storm too. In Arkansas, this frightening scene as an EF2 tornado tears up everything in its path. This drone video showing the destruction near Little Rock, while other parts of the state dealing with flash flooding, more than half a foot of rain in some areas, and tornadoes in Indiana damaging or destroying more than 100 homes.
And Whit, still a lot left to clean up here, but the silver lining, that severe storm system has officially moved out of the region. Whit.
I have people hopeful for that. Alex, thank you so much. Let's turn now more on the forecast. Let's get to Samara Theodore. And Samara, that severe weather happening in multiple parts of the country.
That's right. Thursday was a devastating day for so many folks. My heart goes out to the families that have been impacted by this. You can see 163 damaging wind reports. They had other elements like hail, 234 hail reports. Also the 15 tornadoes that we saw all throughout the Midwest into the Ohio Valley. Here is the focus now shifting today to cleanup. The good news is they are in for dry conditions today. As Alex said, that system has moved on and out. Breezy conditions this weekend. But we do have a threat for severe weather today, and that's in the state of Texas. 1 p.m. Dallas picking up on some robust storms, and we start to see that elevated threat where we could see more scattered tornadoes, damaging winds, and the threat for flash flooding in San Antonio, Uvalde, right on down to Nuevo Laredo. And then tomorrow, through today into tomorrow, we are anticipating very heavy rainfall, especially along the Louisiana coastline. That's a look at the forecast. Janae, back to you.
All right, that's that spring weather we'll be starting to see more of. Samara,
This is a Fox News alert. Multiple people shot in Falls Township, Pennsylvania, with police issuing a shelter-in-place order as they actively search for that shooter. I'm Jackie Heinrich. Welcome to Fox News Live.
Hey, Jackie, I'm Griff Jenkins. Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, who represents this area, tweeting this: there is an active shooter alert in Falls Township. We are monitoring a carjacking and a shooting in 2 sections of Falls Township. I'm in touch with law enforcement officials as they pursue the suspect. More information to follow. That's exactly what we are trying to bring to you. Lauren Green is live with the very latest in this breaking story. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Griff. Well, you know, this is still an active situation, and the residents in the area of Falls Township, Pennsylvania, are being told to shelter in place because the shooter is believed to be armed and dangerous. Falls Township police are searching for 26-year-old Andre Gordon, who's driving a stolen vehicle. It all started at around 8:52 this morning Eastern Time. Police say Gordon shot and killed 2 people at a residence in the block of Viewpoint Lane in Levittown. Less than 15 minutes later, police say Gordon shot and killed another person at another location before fleeing the scene. Then a few minutes later, Gordon hijacked a car at gunpoint in the parking lot of a Dollar General store in Bristol Pike. The owner of the vehicle was not injured. Now, police say Gordon is driving a 2016 dark gray Honda CR-V with Pennsylvania registration KFR 1534. Now, police say Gordon is believed to be homeless with ties to Trenton, New Jersey, but they also say he knew all the victims except the victim of the carjacking. Now, Gordon is described as 6'1" with a thin build and wearing a dark hooded sweatshirt, and is believed to be in possession of an assault rifle that was used in the shooting. And anyone with information is being asked to call 911. Griff.
All right, Lauren, bring us more details as you get them. Thank you very much. Jackie.